Welcome to the MLB Desk Podcast with your host, Alec Pecado. Today on the show, you'll get my full weekend recap Friday through Sunday of rivalry week in MLB, as well as fantasy baseball recap, fantasy baseball waiver wire, and much more. Let's jump in and start with the recap of all the games Friday through Sunday. If you've watched the show before, you know how this works. Start with Friday. Blue Jays and Tigers. This was a game of what could have been. The Tigers had a couple innings where they had the bases loaded, didn't get anything done. Then the Blue Jays, same thing. Final score ended up being 3-2. Jeff Hoffman took the loss. Kenley Jansen got the win. Yankees and Mets. I want to say something before I break down this game a little bit. Prayers up to Clay Holmes. If you didn't hear, he's got a really scary injury that he's going through. He took a line drive off the leg, and he ended up fracturing his tibia. So he's going to be out for an extended period of time for the Mets. But here's my question to Mets fans. Is it time to call up Jonah Tong? I'm going to say, if you play 500 the rest of the start of this week, then yes, I think you need to call up Jonah Tong because, like I said, you're not going to have Clay Holmes for a long time. He's done for at least, in my book, I'm estimating at least 3 months. So that's June, July, August. If you're lucky, he comes back in September. But what kind of Clay Holmes are you going to get in September? Is he going to be a starter, or are they going to use him in like a bulk inning role that a lot of teams are starting to pick up now? Phillies and Pirates. This was a crazy game. As you see, Jose Alvarado got the win. Dennis Santana took the loss. Orion Kokering got the save. His first of the year. 11-9 was the final. And the Phillies are back at 500 at the end of the weekend, it looks like. They took 2 out of 3. They had a good weekend against the Pirates. The next game is the Nationals and the Orioles. And Zach Littell gets the win, and I don't understand Nationals fans at all. They want this guy off the team. Give him a couple weeks. Look what he did with the Rays the last 2 years last year and a half with the Rays as a starter. He was very dependable, very reliable, and then they shipped him off to, I believe it was the Reds at the deadline last year. But the Nationals win 3-2. And the Nationals are another team that are at 500 at the end of the week, into the weekend, and I can safely say I did not see this coming from the Nationals. I thought the Nationals were going to be horrible this year. I guess I'm wrong. The Reds and Guardians, this was another crazy game. Abbott got the win. Tanner Bybee took the loss. TJ Antone got the save. 7-6 win for the Reds. And they take the first game here. You will see on Saturday. So then we get to the Rays and the Marlins, and we were robbed of what would have been the best pitching matchup of the year. Jesse Schultz and Jansen Junk, both as starters. The Rays ended up going with Ian Seymour as the opener. And let's look at the box score. It didn't go. Rays pitching. Seymour went 2 innings, gave up a run, 1 earned, 1 run, 1 earned run, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. Then you had Jesse Schultz come on and pitch 5 innings out of the bullpen. He gave up 1 run, struck out 4, and then Legaminian went 2 innings. So that means he probably got the 8th and the 9th. No walks, no strikeouts. He did give up a hit. And the Rays ended up winning. I believe there is one person I want to talk about. Yes, the Rays did have 2 errors for Dusha and Caminero. Caminero's kind of struggling on defense. But RBI, Taylor Walls is the guy I want to cover here. Wallsy knows his job's on the line. And guess what he goes out and does? He goes 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. He does have a strikeout. And then you see Cedric Mullins there. He went 4 for 4 with 3 runs scored, an RBI, and he did draw a walk. Cedric Mullins is having a turnaround season. He's turning around his year with everybody. I wasn't one of the people. I said, give him time. He'll figure it out. I was not one of the people that wanted him gone. I know Homer Bush is ripping it up. He's scorching hot in AAA. But let him stay down there and develop. Then the Brewers and Twins. McGill gets the save. Morris takes the loss. Ashby gets the win. And it finishes 3-2. Are we going to ever stop disrespecting the Brewers? I think at least I need to. Because they missed out on my top 12 power rankings for MLB this week. And those are up on the website, by the way. Which, if y'all are having issues with the website, please let me know. Because I've already been told by somebody they're having issues pulling up these standings for post-spring standings for the Big Ten. So please let me know if you are. Red Sox and Braves also finished 3-2. Cubs and White Sox was a really good series. (10-5) was the final score on Friday. Then you had the Rangers and Astros. Spencer Arrighetti, 8 no-hit, 7 1/3 no-hit innings. Took a no-hitter into the 8th. Gave up 1 hit. And then you see Brian King got the save. Cardinals won 5-4 on a walk-off. Diamondbacks beat the Rockies 9-1. Dodgers shut out the Angels 6-0. The Padres beat the Mariners 2-0. And the A's beat the Giants 5-2. We go to Saturday. Blue Jays beat the Tigers 2-1. Mets beat the Yankees 6-3. Cardinals beat the Royals 4-2. The Rockies beat the Diamondbacks 4-2. The Nationals whoop up on the Orioles 13-3. And there's Orioles fans out there that said, oh, after this game, you should be embarrassed to be an Orioles fan. The Orioles need to treat everybody. Chill. Calm down. It's one game. One game. One. Phillies beat the Pirates 6-0. Rays lose to the Marlins in 10 innings, 10-5. And as you can see, the Marlins had 4 errors. But the reason they won this game was the 10th inning. The Marlins scored, get this, 7 runs in the 10th inning. All off of Hunter Biggie. 7 runs in 1 inning. Then the Guardians beat the Reds 7-4. Behind a good outing from the bullpen for the Guardians, Cade Smith gets the save. The White Sox beat the Cubs 8-3. And ladies and gentlemen, I think the White Sox, and I'm going to talk about it after we get done with going over these scores from the weekend. I think the White Sox are legit. Brewers beat the Twins 2-1. The Astros beat the Rangers 4-1. The Red Sox beat the Braves 3-2. And Aroldis Chapman, what can I say? He just ages like fine wine. The man is good at what he does, and you saw the play he made to end that game. He took a line drive right out the foot and just, I'm fine. I'll pick the ball up and toss it to first. If the Red Sox can consistently do this, I can see them getting back into the race for the AL East. And the AL East becoming a crapshoot, just like the AL Central is right now. Padres and Mariners. Padres beat the Mariners 7-4. Dodgers beat the Angels 15-2. And the Giants take the second game against the A's 6-4. Yes, I know we're speedrunning through this. We get to Sunday. And toward the end of the show, I will have some game picks for tonight with what games we have. So the Mets take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees by winning Game 3 7-6 in 10 innings yesterday. Devin Williams gets the win. He's got his ERA down to 4 on the season now. The Blue Jays beat the Tigers 4-1. And now the Tigers are tied for last place in the AL Central. After us talking them up before the season, and everybody saying, it's going to be the Tigers division, it still is a crapshoot. But I think what makes that division fun is you never know. 1 week the Tigers could be in first place. The next week it could be Kansas City. The week after that it could be Cleveland. Then it could be Minnesota. Then it could be the White Sox. Any one of those 5 teams could be in first place in that division any given week of the season. That's why baseball, in my opinion, is fun to watch right now. Then we had the Rays beat the Marlins 6-3. Taylor Walls. Here I am highlighting him again. Taylor Walls went 1 for 3 with a bases clearing triple in this game. And Taylor Walls, and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute because there was 2 prospects called up this week from the minors. And I will get to it in a second because they are both in the waiver wire segment, which is coming up in a few minutes. But Brian Baker got the save. Now we go back and we finish. So the Orioles beat the Nationals 7-3. The Braves beat the Red Sox 8-1. Philly shut out the Pirates 6-0 here on Sunday. And take that series and sweep it. The Reds lose 10-3 to the Guardians. The White Sox walk off the Cubs in the 10th inning yesterday. The Twins avoid the sweep by beating Milwaukee 5-4. The Rangers avoid the sweep by shutting out the Astros 8-0. The Cardinals The Royals win 2-0 to avoid getting swept by the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks take 2 out of 3 from the Rockies, winning 8-6 yesterday. The Giants beat the A's 10-1. The Dodgers beat the Angels 10-1. The Padres beat the Mariners 8-3. And that wraps up the scores. And now, my guy for this week, a guy y'all need to watch, is shortstop Colt Emerson of the Mariners. He was just called up from AAA. He appeared in his first big league game yesterday. Scored a run. I believe he went over, but he will be the everyday third baseman for the Mariners. And he was one of the prospects that was called up from the minors. The other one was Carson Williams for the Rays. It's because Jake Fraley went on the injured list with I'm going to say it's a phantom injury. I don't think Fraley was actually hurt. I think this was the Rays' excuse to get Carson Williams back on the big league roster. So both of those guys are on the waiver wire, but they're on the waiver wire on the website, not the waiver wire that I talk about here, which we'll get into right now. And these guys, like I've said all year, under 80% rostered. Jacob Marcy's the first one, outfielder for the Marlins, 70% rostered. If you need help in the outfield because you did have Jake Fraley, or you have somebody else that's either been struggling or is hurt, I would highly recommend adding Jacob Marcy. TJ Rumfield is next. He's first baseman for the Rockies, 11% rostered. If you need help at first base, of course, if you have Nick Kurtz or any of the big boys, do not drop them for somebody off the waiver wire. But if you've been playing roulette at first base, go ahead and pick up TJ Rumfield. Next, my third guy for the position player waiver wire is Travis Bazzana, second baseman for the Guardians. 42% rostered. Must add, I don't know why he's not rostered in over 80% of leagues. He was just called up a couple weeks ago. He's going to get you average. He's going to get you stolen bases. He'll get you some home runs. Next is his teammate Brian Rocchio from the Guardians, 26% rostered. Must add, in my opinion. And ladies and gentlemen, I am trying to change the waiver wire up a tad bit so it's not the same repetitive guys on said waiver wire. Number 5 on the waiver wire is outfielder Carson Bench of the Mets, 19% rostered. Please go and add Carson Bench. We need to get him up to 30% rostered. And then for my 3 pitchers that are less than 80% rostered that you need to pick up, 2 of them start today. And the first one is Andrew Painter of the Phillies. He is only 15% rostered, and all these roster rates are on Yahoo. I don't go off of ESPN because sometimes theirs is not accurate, so I use Yahoo. Right now, Painter's 15% rostered. He starts tonight for the Phillies. Next is Brandon Sproat of the Brewers, 8% rostered. Please go add Brandon Sproat. And finally, if you need saves, because I know there's people that have been struggling to find saves, add Diamondbacks reliever Paul Sewald, 56% rostered on Yahoo. And that's the waiver wire. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before I make my game picks for 4 games today in MLB, I'm going to show you the website so y'all can see what the website looks like. So, of course, here is the podcast, my MLB podcast that you see right here. You click on it, and it takes you to right here. And you can see we are live right now. So you go back there. And if you want to see this is where all of our stuff are. Here's my MLB Power Rankings. Here's the full waiver wire for Week 8 for fantasy baseball. Updated top prospects. Post-spring for college football. Standings. And there's a lot more on here that you can scroll up and scroll down on. That is the website. Now, we're going to stop sharing for a minute. And we're going to go share again. Lovely scores. Monday. So we start with the Guardians and Tigers at 6:40 tonight. I'm going to take the Guardians to win this game. Ciccone and Valdez is the pitching matchup. Slade Ciccone does have a 5.5 ERA. Framber's coming off suspension. I'm still taking the Guardians here. And I'm also going to take the Guardians money line. Blue Jays and Yankees. Give me the Blue Jays here because I want the Yankees to keep losing so the Rays can continue to build that lead in the division. So give me the Blue Jays. Braves and Marlins. And it's J.R. Ritchie and Max Meyer. 6:40 p.m. first pitch. I am going to go with the Marlins are 21-26. I'm going with the Braves here. The Braves have been playing hot baseball. Give me the Braves. But I'm also going to parlay that with the money line for the Braves. So give me the Braves to win the game and give me the money line. Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Rogers and McClanahan's the matchup. McClanahan has looked dominant his last 5 starts. So give me the Rays to win this and give me the Rays money line. Reds and Phillies. Painter against Lodolo. I'm a Reds fan, as y'all know, but I'm going to take the Phillies here. They are over 500 for the first time this year, and it seems like the Don Mattingly bump has worked. So give me the Phillies to win. Nationals and Mets. I'm taking the Mets. And then the last one we're doing is Red Sox and Royals. Give me the Red Sox. And now, ladies and gentlemen, time for my bold predictions for tonight. And I made a bold prediction on Saturday's show that Cedric Mullins would have at least 1 hit. Here I am again doing the same thing. Cedric Mullins and Taylor Walls, if they're both in a lineup for the Rays tonight, and clip this and come back to it if I am correct, will both have a hit tonight for the Rays in Game 1 against Baltimore. I have that funny feeling that they will both have a hit tonight. And if you've enjoyed this, please remember to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, check out the website. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday afternoon. I will see everybody on Wednesday with the weekend preview for MLB. Yes, I know that's usually on Thursday, but we're moving it up a day today. And then on Thursday at 5:30, we will have Around the Diamond with me and Brad returning. Weekend preview on there. But have a wonderful rest of your Monday afternoon.